Hi, guys. Welcome to GlenNeta Live and welcome to February. We're going to jump right in tonight. There's a trending story that's been really just making its way through the media. And I decided to contact my local friendly neighborhood attorney, Brian Gaither, so we can weigh in and see what he thinks about what's going on. So our topic for tonight is, should parents be responsible for their children's crimes? Let's bring on Brian Gaither. Hi, Brian. How are you?
What's up, G?
How are you, sir?
And I'm well. How you doing?
I'm good. And I only call you when I need something, right?
Yeah, I'm used to it though. That's being an attorney. That's typically what happens.
That's what happens. So
They
let's
don't
jump
say,
right
hey,
in.
hey,
So
Brian, how you doing?
I
It's like,
know.
hey,
And
legal
by
advice.
the way, let's let me find out some information. So you're not gonna charge me for this, right?
Oh no. I work for the government, man. So I can't take a private retainer anyway.
All right, good. Let's keep it clean. Okay. All right. So let's just start by a quick introduction. Why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and tell them a little bit about your background?
Well, my name is Brian Gaither. Your friendly neighborhood attorney, of course. The reason I say that, it's funny because little side note, man, I was a comic book nerd growing up, and Spider-Man is actually my favorite comic book character, and he's your friendly neighborhood, web slinger. So of course I'm your friendly neighborhood attorney because I am from the hood. I'm from Decatur, Georgia. I'm very relatable to the people, and I do this because I really love my community. I've been practicing going on 8 years now. It's funny how time flies. I was a public defender for 5 years in Fulton County. Then I transitioned. I am a prosecutor now in the Atlanta area. Funny thing is, I wasn't even trying to be an attorney. I thought I was going to do something in entertainment or business. And then when I got to law school, I had no ambition of doing criminal law. And now, of course, my whole practice has been in criminal law. So, it's more so the divine intervention, but I'm really glad I have opportunity to touch the community and give back and really use my skill set to really better our community and just help people.
Yeah. And, I just want to commend you because I've watched you and your career. I'm very proud of you as an attorney. I'm proud to call you my friend. But I'm also very proud of the work that you're doing. You're giving back to the community. You're speaking on topics. You're mentoring a lot of young men in the community. So I want to commend you. I know you're busy. You're always in court, but you always still make time to give back to the community. And that's very important. So I want to commend you on a job well done. And I want to encourage you to just keep pushing. And keep doing what you're doing because we need you. We need you, and we need we need our men. We need our men to step up and to be those mentors for our kids.
That's very true because I wouldn't be where I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for men stepping up for me.
Right.
And I'm obligated. I have to.
And we have to remember that. We have to think about who was there for us and then what we have to give back. So, we have to remember, although we're busy, we get caught up in our schedules, we still all have an obligation to give back. So thank you for your introduction. I hope everyone, is tuning in. So our topic this evening, should parents be responsible for their children's crimes? So let me just tell you, I found a debate online. 55% said yes. Now, they said parents should be held responsible for the children they raise. They said if not parents, then who? And yes, it's usually their fault. 45% said no. It is the child's fault, not the parent's fault. Every child or every person has the ability to think and simulate their own actions. And they said no, no, and no. So my question to you, and then later on, I'm going to give you my opinion because I have my opinions about this being a mother of three. Right. But let's see what you have to say about this. So my first question to you, does Georgia have a law that can punish parents?
Okay, this is actually a very touchy subject because as you see just with the stats, it's split. Georgia does have a law in the books that can actually punish parents. It's called the Georgia Compulsory Education Laws. Matter of fact, the statute is code section 20-2690. And it deals very specifically. It deals with unexcused absence or truancy.
Okay.
Basically, the school has it's not a set amount of absences, But typically, like around 8 unexcused absences, the school can start looking into the child's background and home environment, and then they can start taking action. And what it is, basically from 6 to 16, every parent has to have their child in a public school, private school, or homeschool, and they have to go through certain criteria.
Okay. And
you'll get in trouble when the truancy gets starts to pick up, and you start having all these unexcused absences. Like for instance, just in DeKalb County, not too long ago, there was I want to say a young man, like 13, that has like 6, 7 felony arrests. But what happened? He was missing school, and that's how the parent got arrested. And the punishment so far is a $25 to $100 fine, or up to 30 days in jail. So right now, there is something on the books where parents can be liable criminally for their children's actions. But the thing is, I believe it's it's an ordinance, so it wouldn't be on your record, but it could cause a problem, locking folks up for their kids.
Right.
So right now, that's on the books.
Right. And if you guys who are watching, if you have any questions or you have any comments for Brian, go ahead and leave them in the comment section, and we're going to ask him. I'm going to tell you how I feel about this. So I'm kind of split, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I'm a mother of 3. And while I believe that I am raising my children right, I feel like at some point, children are going to do what they want to do. Now, if my children are robbing people, raping people, if they're on their 3rd, 4th crime, all this craziness, and I'm just not controlling my kids, I feel like you should hold me accountable. I absolutely do. But on the flip side, I think there has to be a limit. If these are minor, petty crimes or petty situations, and we definitely have to put those limits on what we consider to be petty, then I feel like if you put me in jail and we're in a single parent household, let's just say, who's going to pay the bills? Like, how exactly does that work? Or if we're in a 2-parent household and we only have 1 income, or we're used to having 2 incomes and now we're down to 1, how exactly is that supposed to work? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's actually one of the arguments. There's 2 different arguments on that's coming along with this. As a matter of fact, this is a hot topic because the city of South Fulton is actually proposing a ordinance that takes this Georgia law and it broadens it, where as far as the law is now, it's just truancy, it's just unexcused absences. Now, if South Fulton gets their proposal in, it would include unruly children, which means this is now it's the children's behavior that can get you in trouble. And there's 2 different arguments going on. On one side is just like you're saying, where a lot of times the parents are suffering from the poor education system, lack of economic support, and it's just a lot of issues that's plaguing our community, and that's why the children are doing certain things. And the mother or father may have 2 or 3, 4 jobs, and they can't always babysit their child. Right. But on the other hand, you do what really brought about this in South Fulton.
Julius, we're not going to lock the kids up.
What happened?
We have Julius Williams saying, lock the kids up.
That's what they've been doing. That's exactly what they've been doing. But apparently, the majority of the crimes that's been happening in South Fulton has been happening during the daytime with truancy children, with teenagers that's been skipping school. Right. And that's why they've been cracking down. And they having a lot of burglaries, a lot of entering autos, and the community. That's why you see it split, because it's like, I was literally watching the town hall meeting, and I saw the emotions in the conflict with all the different parents, because you had parents getting up saying, "Well, I don't want to have an extra burden on parents trying to, not only be a good mother or father and be an officer to their kids, but I don't want to take that responsibility either, because my house got broken into." Right. So it's really touchy. Yeah, and I think it's going to be split down the middle by people who have been affected by children who are gone wild, and people who are actually, holding their children accountable. Let's do this for a second. Let's take your attorney hat off and go to the mentor, Brian Gaither. What do you feel like we should do or we could be doing
to prevent our children from either, doing these crimes or to even prevent this from even having to be a discussion?
Well, the thing is, man, I don't really think law enforcement is the answer to our problem.
Okay.
We have to nip this in the bud. The law says from 6 to 16, man, we need to get to our babies younger than that and start grooming them before we get to this point. Me personally, and this is my lawyer hat on too, and that's why I'm a prosecutor, because I believe in restorative justice. And even with South Fulton, and when I initially heard about it, I was like, ooh, but then I said, let me sit back, let me see what they're going to do. And apparently they want to add a lot of more rehabilitative programs for the parents. So let's just say if little Johnny gets caught breaking into somebody's house 3 or 4 times, instead of just imposing the penalties on the parent, they're talking about trying to see if they have resources, try to go through some diversion, some kind of, if there's a mental health issue there. There's really, it seems as if they're trying to really help the parents out. And that's what I feel that needs to be done. And
I agree.
You don't really need law enforcement or the court system to do that if we as a community actually pull together like we used to.
Right.
And really self-policing each other, and really, it takes a village to raise a child. That's really the answer.
Right.
But as far as this particular issue, if it goes in more of a rehabilitative direction where it's on the books and you may feel a certain way about the punishments, but if the legislative intent is to truly rehabilitate the community and the parents and have like parent universities and really help them out, it could be a good idea. Because now I think the parents need accountability, but not it shouldn't be criminalized, I don't think.
I agree.
I guess the good takeaway is that this particular issue in South, the proposal is supposed to be a city ordinance, so it wouldn't go in your record. And it's not like it'll follow you, but getting thrown in jail for like 30 days, people lose their job if you go to jail for a day, and that could be an issue. And that's where I'm at. I don't mean to ramble, but it's just such a sensitive subject.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted you here, because you are on both sides. You're on the attorney side, but you're also on the mentor side. So I know if a case comes across, you're going to have to do what you have to do. But at the end of the day, you're still a mentor to these children. And I wanted to see, what your perspective on that was. So I appreciate you chiming in and being honest and just telling us. I also want to say that I think that a lot of the programs that are either out there or that are going to be created for this situation should be well publicized and communicated to the public. I think that it's very much so a lack in responsibility for government to communicate properly what is available, in their county or in the state and things like that. We have to communicate and tell them what is available to them.
There's a lot of programs out there too. We just don't hear about them. That's the truth. There's a lot of programs out there. Yeah.
We hear about the things, or we inquire about the things that we need right then. Or if something affects you, we're like, okay, well, let me check into this program that helps with my house if I'm going to lose it, and things like that. But I think we're going to also have to find a way to put these programs out there and let them know this is something that we need,
Well, I will say this, and this is Brian Gaither speaking. When I was looking at the town hall meeting, I saw how many people was there and how many concerned parents was in the room because they've been victimized. And I get it. My heart goes out to them. But at the same time, I remember one of the panelists, and I've seen it myself, said they had a whole panel on solutions on how to, build the community up and get the kids on the right path. And only 5 people showed up.
Yeah.
Shame on the community. I'm sorry. That's Brian speaking, because
we show up when we're affected. If someone's broken into our house, or that's when we show up. And that has to change. We're going to have to start showing up and being accountable and learning more about the community, getting more involved in our communities, even when it's not affecting us, even when there's not something that we need, or even when something hasn't specifically happened to us. We're going to have to show up and we have to be present. Yeah.
It's a problem now. I will admit that when you have the majority of these break-ins and happening during the school hours, that is a problem now.
Yeah, it's a problem.
We can't be reactive. We got to be proactive. Getting these kids' lives beforehand. 5 people shouldn't just show up to the solutions meeting, but then you have a packed house when we're discussing the problems.
Mm-hmm. I agree 100%. So do you want to close out anything else on this topic before we go in? Because I want to know what's coming up next for you. I know you have a lot going on. So anything else you want to close out on this topic?
Basically just, man, we have to just sit back and see what happens, see what they're going to propose. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I'm all about rehabilitation and restorative justice.
Yeah.
And I'm all for it. I'm all for holding the parents accountable because we need to. But at the same time, we already have an issue with the school to prison pipeline. And I don't personally want it to get worse.
Right. Let me ask you, Alicia Kimball says these kids have no respect, no fear, and nothing to lose. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, where do they learn it from though? It's like, I get it. And that and it's funny because every generation says that. Because I remember when I was growing up, they were saying the same thing.
I don't know. We got beat. I'm sorry. My mama beat me. Like I was not running the streets.
We was like the last. We was the last of the Mohicans of getting that discipline.
I was not running the streets. I was not breaking into nobody's house. My mama would have killed me.
But literally, we had a science teacher in high school that literally said that we was going to be juvenile delinquents. Like it's funny. Yeah, I'm a lawyer now. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, and you didn't think you would be a lawyer, so that just tells you that you can change. You can be whatever you want to be at any time.
But the kids are off the chain. It's a deep rooted issue, and that conversation can take hours and hours. We can talk about what they see in the media. The reason why I am a mentor is because they don't have anything positive to look up to. Mm-hmm. Where you show the kids that you can be cool, you can still have your swag and do everything you want to and be professional and still, and you can still, be a good, productive citizen.
Mm-hmm. But I agree. And I'm gonna go ahead. Go ahead, Brian.
I say, a lot of that comes from the upbringing and just the lackadaisical attitude on not being proactive. Because, like I said, 5 people going to the solution meeting is a problem, and you wonder why the kids have no fear and they don't care because you don't care about them.
Right. I agree. I agree. And I want to get with you and maybe collaborate some statewide, resources that we have. And then on the county levels, because, I'm on one side, I'm in a different county than you are. Maybe we can, put together some resources and bring you back on at another time. Just And then talk about some things that you're doing with your children, with your mentorship. Let's see. Alicia says, exactly, GlenNeta. We are at home in our bed at 2 a.m. at 15 and 16, not terrorizing neighborhoods. Yes, we were.
I agree.
Yeah. And that goes to show you about the generations. Things have changed. Yeah. And then too, I also have to agree or say that a lot of these parents don't want to be bothered with the kids, so they're like, okay, well, as long as you're not bothering me, well, I'm trying to do my thing. Marcus Griffin says the law punishes parents who do not spank and discipline their children, whether it's at home or in the public. The new age kid probably has never been spanked.
Well, not even just spanked, man. It's a lack of discipline too. I can't say because in many ways it's skin a cat because each different children react differently. Period. I know with my siblings, with me, you can just threaten me. I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, my mom just looked at me. She gave me one look and I knew, we don't do that. The discipline is not the same as it was when we were growing up. Yeah.
I think the issue is there's it's a lack of discipline, period, because you have two extremes. You have the quote unquote extreme poverty parents, but then you have the middle class rich parents that are so busy and they just send their children to school and think that's like a daycare.
Yeah, and they have their phones and give them a check or some cash and they're good.
So I've seen that from what I was raised in a lower middle class environment where you had a mixed economic backgrounds, and it was a lot of the rich kids that were bad as hell. It was them because the parents would send them to school thinking the school was going to raise them, and that's not the case.
Yeah, and those are the same ones that could pay off a judge to fix their problems when they got in trouble too. Instead of them being held responsible. So that's a whole nother show on that one.
You gotta have to follow up.
Right. Okay, let's go into real quick. Tell me what's coming up. What's on your radar?
Oh man. Shout out to my boy Julian Collins. He's another young attorney. He's from Albany.
Okay.
And we're actually gonna start a podcast.
Okay.
What's the verdict? And the
Okay.
reason
Nice.
why we want to start a podcast and what makes it different from other ones is because we're both, I'm from Decatur. I can still relate, and I will always be able to relate with my people and just people in general. And Julian, he's from Albany, and what we want to do, we want to take these complex legal topics and break it down so the average person can know about it, and just really show people that when it comes to law, you don't have to be confused about it, and we really want to just educate the community on just things that's happening in within the legal system. And we're both mentors. We have a passion for young men, and we're going to start this podcast going to be once a month. Our first episode is going to be, I believe, our projected date is going to be February the 10th.
Okay.
And this is Black History Month. We're going to be talking about Thurgood Marshall and talking about the movie, talking about the comparisons of real life. We're going to introduce ourselves and just really start showing people that all these legal complex terms that you hear from all these attorneys, we can help you out with that.
Good. Well, I think that's awesome. How do we stay connected to you?
And you can follow me on Facebook, Brian Gaither, Brian, just regular old Brian Gaither, Gaither. You can follow me on Instagram, Gaither_GESQ.
Okay.
You can follow me on LinkedIn, Brian Gaither, once again. Also,
and you've been doing a lot with your YouTube channel too. What kind of topics are you discussing on there?
I was just about to talk to you about my YouTube page, man. It's Brian Gaither ESQ. Please go subscribe. I talk about topics such as this, legal issues that affect the community. I'm talking about uplifting conversations, motivation. I just had a lecture when I went over local government and the importance of why you should get involved. Check that out. I got a lot of content coming out for the community.
Good.
Hopefully you guys go to Brian Gaither ESQ.
And I'm going to tag you. Make sure you're tagged into this broadcast. So when you see him on this broadcast, go to his page, follow him, and also follow him subscribe to his channel. Also subscribe to mine. So we're going to have a lot of things coming up. I'm definitely going to have you back on so we can, go through some other topics. There's so much to talk about.
Oh, can I give one more shout out?
Of course.
The National Black Prosecutors Association of the Metro Atlanta chapter. I am the vice president of membership. We have a lot of good events coming up this year. So I'll get with you. I'll tell you our schedule so everybody can come be a part of it. We're really trying to promote more diverse prosecutors and conscientious prosecutors to get involved with prosecution, because that's how we make changes.
Right.
And that's how we really connect with people and really help our community, because we have the power of the state to have all these resources, and we don't have to just use the resources to lock people up.
Right.
We can use the resources to really
Amen to that.
So I'm big on that.
Yeah. Well, I'm big on motivation. Give us a final moment. If someone is watching from home with their child or a young man, they want to show this broadcast to them. Give me just something motivational for a young man who may want to be an attorney, or for a young man who thinks he can't be an attorney.
Man, it's simple. Like the guy on the water boy said, you can do it. I promise you can do
it. You can do it. How easy is it?
If little old me from Decatur, having my own issues, man, running away from my destiny, can get turned around and actually go forward and really affect change, man. Anybody can do it. So believe in yourself. I know it sounds cliche, but it's the truth. Believe in yourself. You got to love yourself before you love your God or community.
Okay.
And like I said, you can do it.
Yep. Well, thank you so much. Stay on with me really quick. I always try to end with a little motivation. So it's Thursday. So for Thursday motivation, almost Friday. Yay. Oh my goodness. So Thursday motivation, enjoy the process of working on yourself. This happens just by doing what you love and embracing everything within. I have been on such a journey within the past few months of just finding what really makes me happy. So I want to encourage you guys out there to do the same. I also want you to know that you are enough. You don't have to worry about, trying to be something that you're not. Be your true, authentic self, and you are enough. I want to encourage you to make your own rules and to live by your own terms. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys, don't forget to subscribe to both of us, Brian Gaither, ESQ, and GlenNeta Griffin on YouTube. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Peace,
Thanks,
fam.
Brian.
Thank you.